Hi chums. Right, it's been a while since the last one, but it's just been so busy. My goodness, my feet haven't touched the ground for about 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I'm sure. Cara, number 24. Cara, and it's Livingston compost with spuds galore and blood, fish and bone, and there were 3 medium spuds in this one. The very busy, very busy. But there's a couple of little details I want to sort out first. There's something really fantastic happening in the wood turning scene. Mike Walt, a very good turner over in England, had suggested a sort of a meet-up for a few of the turners that all knew each other on YouTube, and then it kind of grew legs, and the meet-up has become the UK and Ireland wood turning symposium, which is on in Coventry next June. Coventry's in the Midlands in England. Mike Walt, Martin Saban-Smith and Steve Twidell over in Ireland here, he's based in Galway, are setting the whole thing up, and it looks like it's going to be a fantastic venture. It's a 2 or 3 day weekend, I'm not too sure, I think it's maybe 3 day, and it's very reasonable. Now they're charging at full rate tickets at the moment are £15 a day. Just to put that in perspective for you, I was going to go to the Irish seminar and it was going to cost about £100 a day. So, or maybe £80 a day is €100 or something. So £15 a day is for nothing. And they were doing early bird tickets for a tenner. So this is really good value, and I hope it goes really well. Now I'm going to do a separate video about that, but just wanted to do it, let you know. Basically want to let Mike Walt know that I haven't forgotten about that, because I promised him last week I'd do a video on it. So I'll do that later on. But while we're on the subject of wood turning, a gentleman called Peter Smith mentioned in the last potato reveal, why don't you tell us how you got into wood turning? So I'll do that. We'll have to wind the clock back about 30 years. And I'm 50 years, about 30 years, I was 28 or 29. My kids were sort of up a wee bit, and I wanted something to do at nights, just for one night a week, because I've been out working. I drove a taxi for 3 years, which was madness. You think you're doing the right thing, but it's absolute bloody madness. So when I quit that, I had all this time in my hands, and I thought, right, I'll go back to school and learn some woodworking. So I went back to school, and I went into my local college, and wasn't the teacher a friend of mine that I trained with? I'm not going to mention his name, okay? But he said, right, what you need to do is you need to start off learning mortise and tenon joints and stuff like that, because I'd never done woodwork in my life. So I did that, but in the corner of the room I saw these lathes and guys working them, and I thought, that's what I want to do. And I said to him, he said, Brenton, you're not ready for that yet. You need to know basic woodwork, just how wood works in the sense of understanding it, basically. And he said, once you do a bit of this manual work and you get to know how the wood moves and all the rest of it, we'll maybe get you onto that. But then I was building this stool, and then other factors took over, and I never got a chance. This is not looking too bad, actually. I never got a chance to finish that off. I left the course before my stool was finished, and I never did woodwork again, except for DIY type stuff at home. So then we'll wind the clock on another 20 years until I was about 47, and I became very ill. And I was off work, and I went back into work, and I was off work, and I kept going back into work against doctor's orders. And they said to me, Brenton, if you go back to work again, you're going to die. And when they talk like that, I tend to listen, you know. So I spent about 3 years sitting on my backside, because I couldn't walk properly and stuff, you know. And it was really awful, and they were talking about wheelchairs and all this stuff, you know, and I was really down. And I used to go over every Friday night to see my mates, and I didn't bother doing that, and there was no point in them even coming looking for me, because I would just have said I'm not going, you know. So there was this kind of stalemate. And then my friend Kieran arrived over with a lathe, a little wood lathe, very basic, but it was a wood lathe. And he said, look, there's something there for you, because he knew I loved working out in the shed and stuff. Is there something there you might want to get a wee go at and see how you get on, you know? I said, brilliant, thanks very much. So I'm just looking for something to throw the crap into here. So that was fair enough. He brought me a few chisels and stuff, and I went out to the garage a few days later when I was feeling kind of half reasonable, you know. I thought I'd better have a look at this thing. And I put a piece of eucalyptus into the lathe, because that's what I had. I'd just got a eucalyptus tree cut down and there was bits of firewood lying about. And I put the bit of eucalyptus into the lathe and I started turning it. And I made a wee sort of depression, where I made a wee kind of depression in the wood, and then I came to the middle and it was just sort of a bit sticking up. So I thought, I wonder what would happen if I cut underneath that there. And I didn't even know what I was doing, but I made a captive ring. And at the end of about 15 minutes or so, this is what I had. At that little, see, look, it's just in between centres. It's not even chucked up or anything. And I made that, and I thought, this is something I want to know more about. I love this, and I've always kept that because I couldn't believe that I'd done something like that, because I'd never done anything with my hands like this in my life, anything artistic or anything like that, you know. So I was absolutely thrilled. So that's the moment when I decided I loved wood turning, and I've been at it 7 or 8 years now. So thanks to my friend Kieran, I ended up doing something I really loved, and then spent thousands of pounds on tools and machines and all the rest of it, and the rest is history, you know. So then that became a passion, and as you know, I do a lot of wood turning now, you know. So basically, it was because of Kieran that I got into it, because I wouldn't probably have thought of doing it, because I was at that stage when I was so sick. I didn't even watch TV. I was so bored, you know. I was so sick. I just couldn't even be bothered doing anything. So for him to do that and get me up off my ass was a huge, generous act on his part. But he basically saved my hide, you know, and got me to do something. And that then, that interest in wood turning then got me to go to the college, at the local college, the next year. And I spent 2 years in the college every Thursday from 10 in the morning until 4 in the evening. And we had our lunch there, and it was great because it was all guys who had retired, and a few guys had illnesses, and they were off work and stuff, and they were trying to find something to do. And there was a great social thing. And I met my friend Michael through that, which was a really lucky thing too, because he's a great guy. So it was all positive, you know, and I had a great time. And then what happened then was the colleges were told that they had to offer a qualification with every course. And this is for funding, because colleges get funded by results. So they weren't getting funded for these, they weren't getting as much funding for these recreation courses as they could get if they made us do a qualification. So then they decided to go, and I thought, right, I've had enough. I've learned enough now, but I need to go and practice what I know before I start doing anything else. So I pulled out then, and a lot of other people pulled out as well, because they didn't want to do qualifications. They were there for a bit of fun. They weren't there to do exams. So they pulled out, and I signed up again this year, and I discovered that the courses are only 7 weeks long. But what they do, instead of offering 2 10-week courses, or 3, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 10-week courses, they offer 7-week courses, and if you offer 7-week courses, you don't need to offer qualifications. So that's how they get around that one, because they were losing money then, because nobody was coming for the classes, because they didn't want to end up basically going back to school and having to study and stuff, you know, and produce portfolios and all that stuff, you know. So I'm back again now, and I'm really loving it. It's really good. I'm learning more technical stuff, and I'm learning great techniques from a guy called Eric Turner, who's a professional wood turner, who learned to trade the old way, where you started off and just did the same thing for 6 months, and then you were allowed to, if you mastered that, you were allowed to learn a new skill, and you did it for 6 months, and you eventually worked your way up as an apprentice. But the old guy is teaching you what you needed to know as you needed to know it. And he's now teaching us, you know. So I'm enjoying that very much. I enjoy that. There's a great bunch of people at that as well, you know. So then, funny enough, I was away at a wood turning session yesterday. Seamus Carroll, I think it was, from Navan. He's a production turner and he was very good. He gave a lot of good tips yesterday. So that was that. So I enjoyed that very much. But as I say, it was through illness that I started turning and absolutely loved it. And you all know what happened since. I've just got besotted with it, you know. Look at this. I thought this year was going to be a complete disaster. I don't think it's going to be as bad as I thought it was. I hope anyway. Where's my wee bag? So then I was watching some stuff recently, and what do you call it? A guy did a channel called Poultry People, and he was hitching a lift, and that just ignited the spark that brought back loads of memories for me of when I was hitchhiking down the west coast of Ireland in my youth, you know. It was kind of too dangerous to hitchhike up here at that time because we were all going insane and you wouldn't know who had lifted you and shot you and buried you or something, you know, so you didn't really hitch up here. But in the down south it wasn't just as bad, you know, so myself and my mate Gary would have hitched a lot down south, and we had some wonderful laughs doing that, you know. And I'm thinking of something now, and I don't even know if I can tell you about it. I had a court or something, you know. So that's that. Right, we'll weigh these boys now, so just get me loads of. But those were good times. So I'll filter through my hitchhiking stories and get a few of those lined up for you. Right, we'll see. So. But we need spuds for dinner tonight, so that's the most important thing, is to get these up to the house. Oh boy, I've been so tired. I've been working. We did a chainsaw course. Myself and Ricky are up, and our friend Dylan is up, helping a young guy who had a brain injury, brain injury. He's a tree surgeon, and they were cutting a huge walnut tree, and they didn't know there's a big lightning fault shock right through the centre of it, and he cut the final bit and the whole top came down on him and just battered the head clean off him, so he was very lucky he didn't die. His father went up the tree and had him down. He was unconscious at this stage. His father went up the tree and had him down in 1 minute and 20 seconds. And I watched him doing the pole rescue, the tree rescue thing up in the yard last week. And for him to go up and get all roped up and have him down in 1 minute and 20 seconds, he was going at some speed. So he's doing okay, but his memory isn't great. And we're trying to teach him new skills, and he could be a really good wood turner because he has great hand-eye coordination and stuff, you know. And he's a very skillful wood tree surgeon, you know. World champion tree surgeon. Taking parts in the games and all, and he won world championships and all, so he's no dope. But then, by way of thanks, his dad offered myself and Ricky a chainsaw course, just to keep us safe using chainsaws. I'm terrified of chainsaws. And whenever I saw how you properly use a chainsaw, I realised I was right to be terrified of them, because the guys who run them are scared of them. They are really dangerous things. So he taught us how to do that, the 2-day course, and then I thought, right, I want to get the qualification in this. So Ricky did as well. So we both did the assessment last Tuesday, 2-hour assessment on just taking apart a chainsaw, maintaining it, rebuilding it, sharpening the saw and using the saw and cutting and stuff. It takes about 2 hours. So we both passed the assessment, so I was real thrilled with that, because that's the first time I've ever passed a practical exam. I've done exams in rock climbing and all the rope stuff and canoeing and different mountaineering skills and that for for navigation and all, but I've never done a practical thing with a machine before, so that was a real thrill for me, you know. So just talking about mountaineering stuff, my son just phoned home from England there. He's doing Duke of Edinburgh training at the moment, and they had him out, and he said there's a little stream beside them on Friday, and then on Saturday it became a bit of a torrent, and on Sunday it was like a waterfall. The stuff was bouncing up into the air, the water, it was coming down so hard. They had to pull off the mountains. They were over in the Pennines, and they had to pull off because it was too dangerous to train. Now, remember when I was doing the mountain training, the trainers loved when it was really foul conditions, because it meant if you were learning in those conditions, it meant that if they came up when you were had to group out yourself, you knew what to do. But it must have been really bad when they get pulled off the mountain. So in that situation, you don't go out at all, you know. There was actually a warning went out to people that the mountain rescue teams will not be able to go out and find you if you get into trouble because the weather's so bad, so don't go near the mountains. So if they can't go out, it is real bad. We're in the sort of the eye of the storm at the moment. It hasn't really hit us, but we're about the same latitude as Dermot, over there where he is in the Pennines. So we're expecting something soon, but it hasn't been too bad here. Very heavy rain, but not too bad last night, but not too bad otherwise. Right, shut up and get these weighed. This, I'm going to go for £8 here. No, I'm going to go for £6.5. There you are, £6.6. What's that, about 2.9 kilos? Oh no, don't do that. I pressed the button for too long. Right, I'll do it again. Sorry about that. Oh, hello. Oh, I forgot about that bit, didn't I? Right, there we are. We're on pounds, so we'll do that. So we're back to 6.5 now. Is it 2.8 kilos or something that is? 2.95 kilos. So that's not bad, you know. A lot better than what I expected. So there you are, folks. Let's see, I'll just turn that there. I think that's going to be alright there. I'm not too sure. I might have to bend down a bit. We'll see. Where am I? Oh, that's alright. That's got me. So, what happens now? I'm going to be doing more reveals. I have to get some potatoes from outside and bring them in here because it's starting to get colder now. We were down to 5 degrees last night. What's that, about 15 Fahrenheit? No, 30, but 40 Fahrenheit or so last night. It was coolish, cooler, getting cooler. But we had mad temperatures. We were up in the 60s and near 70s last week, or this week, sorry. 22 degrees somewhere here in Murlock, and at night time 16 degrees. What's that, 61 or 62 at night? That's really mad for this time. That's like summer temperatures for here. So, but it's getting cooler now, and I want to get the spuds in before the frost comes. So that'll be that. So until the next time, thanks for watching, and bye bye.